There are moments in sports that make you stop scrolling. Moments where you read the scoreline once, then again, and maybe even a third time, because it just doesn't feel real. Today was one of those moments. If you were anywhere near tennis Twitter, you already know the name. And if you weren't, sit down, because what just happened is going to be talked about for a long time in women's tennis. Alexandra Eala, just 20 years old, walked onto the indoor clay courts of the Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open and delivered a performance nobody saw coming. She defeated Ekaterina Alexandrova, a top 10 player, the defending champion, and someone who had lifted the trophy on that very court just a year ago. This wasn't just an upset. This was a statement. A statement written in permanent ink. But before we break down the match, you need to understand the stage she stepped onto, because context changes everything. Without it, this is just a surprising result. With it, it becomes something much bigger. The Linz Open isn't just another stop on the tour. Since becoming a WTA 500 event, it carries serious weight, ranking points, prestige, and pressure. Players who win here aren't flukes. They're proven competitors. And this year, the tournament added another layer of complexity: indoor clay. Played at the Design Center Linz, this surface creates a unique environment. No wind, no sun, no external distractions. Just pure, controlled tennis. But don't be fooled, indoor clay is brutal. It demands patience, heavy topspin, and elite fitness. It turns matches into physical chess battles, where every point has to be earned. And into that environment walked Alexandrova, a player built on power. She takes the ball early, steals time from her opponents, and when she's in rhythm, she can hit through almost any surface, even clay. Her serve is dangerous, and her ability to turn neutral rallies into winners is exactly why she sits among the world's best. She's not just a big hitter. She's experienced, calculated, and knows how to win under pressure. She proved that last year when she won this very tournament, and she returned this time with the quiet confidence of a defending champion, someone who believed this court belonged to her. And then, there was Eala. If you've been following her journey, you already know, she keeps breaking expectations. Every time it feels like we've seen her limit, she pushes beyond it. A product of the Rafa Nadal Academy, Eala represents a completely different kind of player. That system doesn't just train athletes, it builds competitors from the ground up. Players who are conditioned for long battles. Players who fight for every point. That philosophy is in her DNA. Her game is built on movement, endurance, and mental strength. She doesn't panic. She adapts. She survives. And as a left-hander, she brings an added layer of difficulty: angles, spin, and patterns that most players aren't comfortable facing. All of that came together on this day. And what followed was something special. Eala already has a natural structural advantage that right-handed opponents constantly have to adjust for. Her heavy cross-court forehand naturally angles into the backhand side of most players, and on clay, where the ball sits up and bites, that weapon becomes even more devastating. Her defensive movement is elite. She doesn't just chase balls, she recovers, resets, and transitions into offense almost seamlessly. And her tennis IQ, the ability to anticipate rallies 3 shots ahead, is simply exceptional. It's the kind of skill you either have or you don't. With Alex, it's undeniably there. But coming into today, questions remained. Just weeks ago at the Miami Open, she exited in the round of 16 to Karolina Muchova in straight sets. Her serve had been targeted and exposed, and analysts weren't shy about calling it out. The conversation was simple. Alex wants to consistently compete with the top players on tour. Her serve needed to improve. It couldn't remain a liability. She'd also just reached a career-high ranking of world number 29, a milestone that carries its own pressure. Suddenly, she was the player everyone studied. She could have walked into Linz weighed down by all of that. Instead, from the very first game, it was clear she had done her homework. She wasn't trying to out-hit Alexandrova in a flat, power-driven firefight, a strategy that would have been a fast track to defeat. Instead, Alex executed a far more sophisticated plan. She played high, heavy, and loaded her shots with topspin, pushing Alexandrova back behind the baseline. By lifting the ball to disrupt rhythm, she denied the defending champion the opportunity to flatten out rallies and dictate points. And her serve, the very shot criticized just weeks earlier, held up beautifully. She didn't rely on raw pace. She served smart, constantly varying speeds, keeping Alexandrova guessing, and using her left-handed slice wide on the ad court to drag her completely off the court. It was controlled suffocation at its finest, and absolutely stunning to watch. Alex opened up angles, winning crucial points when she needed them most. On second serve, she kicked the ball high and deep, denying Alexandrova any clean look for a return winner. It wasn't flashy, it was disciplined. And in those clutch moments, discipline beats raw power almost every time. The psychological dimension of this match cannot be overstated. There's a specific kind of frustration that takes hold of a power player when their best shots keep coming back. When Alexandrova hit what should have been clean winners only to see them returned, often with added pressure, you could watch her recalibrate in real time. Margins shrink. The instinct to hit harder creeps in, and that's exactly when unforced errors start piling up. Alex didn't create this through sheer pace. She created it through relentlessness, a maddening refusal to miss, grinding out the long rallies that clay court tennis demands. As the match wore on, the fitness gap became evident. Clay is a war of attrition, punishing anyone who isn't conditioned for extended lateral movement, explosive recovery, and those lung-burning sprints that every point demands. Alex, molded on red clay in Spain, moved with ease. She slid into her shots with perfect balance, reset instantly, and never looked rushed. Alexandrova, whose game thrives on faster surfaces with shorter, sharper points, began to show subtle signs of wear as rallies stretched past 10 shots. In a match this tight, those small differences were decisive, and then it was over. The reaction was instantaneous. Social media didn't just notice, it erupted. Analysts were revising Clay's season predictions in real time, and players on other courts likely heard the news before finishing their warm-ups. A result like this doesn't just affect one draw, it sends a ripple through the entire tour. For the Philippines, the impact goes far beyond sport. Alex is not just competing on the WTA Tour. She's the face of a movement, proof that elite tennis is attainable for a region that has been knocking at the door for generations. Defeating a top 10 player and defending champion at a WTA 500 event is a watershed moment. It tells every young player in Southeast Asia that the highest level of tennis is real, achievable, and embodied by Alexandra Eala. The ripple effect within the Linz draw itself is fascinating. With Alexandrova out, the bracket has cracked wide open. Players like Emma Navarro, Clara Tauson, and Yelena Ostapenko have all recalculated their path, and they've just witnessed what Alex is capable of. I'd bet every single one of them now approaches the possibility of facing her with a very different level of respect than they did just 48 hours ago. She isn't a dangerous floater anymore. She's a proven giant killer, and that is an entirely different kind of threat. Looking at the bigger picture for the clay season, this result injects a genuine unpredictability into everything that follows. Madrid and Rome are coming. Roland Garros is on the horizon. A 20-year-old who just dismantled the defending champion on indoor clay using a tactical blueprint far beyond her years now heads into all of it with momentum, confidence, and a ranking about to climb significantly with the points from this run. For Alexandrova, this is a result that demands reflection. She's too good, too experienced, and too well-equipped to let one early exit define her clay season. She'll regroup, find her footing again, but this match will serve as a reference point for every opponent she faces on clay going forward. Alex just showed the blueprint, and now the tape is out there for everyone to study. For Alexandra Eala, though, today changes something profound. Not in the sense that she suddenly becomes a different player. She's been building toward this for years. But there are moments in an athlete's career that crystallize self-belief in a way no training session or junior Grand Slam title can. Defeating a top 10 player and defending champion under the lights of a center court, on a surface she's trained to dominate since age 14, leaves a permanent mark. She knows now, not thinks, but knows, that she belongs in these moments. And that kind of self-knowledge is the most dangerous weapon any athlete can carry into a major tournament. The poise she showed today, the tactical clarity, the refusal to panic when Alexandrova came out swinging early, the composure on serve under pressure, did not appear by accident. It is the product of years of grueling work at an elite academy, filtered through a character that simply doesn't fold when the moment gets heavy. We are witnessing the beginning of something real here, not a flash of brilliance, not an overperformance on a good day, but the genuine, sustainable rise of a player with the tools, the mind, and now the proven track record to compete with anyone in the world on her best surface. The French Open is still weeks away, but for the first time, we can say with certainty that when Alexandra Eala walks through the gates at Roland Garros, she will not be there just to make up the numbers. She will be there as a legitimate threat. And if you haven't been paying attention to her story yet, today is a very good day to start.